Welcome to Uncanny X-Minutes, where we bring you the comics behind the movies. I'm Stasia.
I'm Producer James.
And we're here to watch X-Men Days of Future Past, minutes 100 to 110.
All right, here is what happens. Sentinel attack continues. Bunch of future X-Men die. Well, Sentinel attack continues both in the past and the future. And then Magneto pulls out the president's panic room and then monologues to the television screen.
As he is wont to do.
Or to the television cameras. Rather.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But in the future X-Men attack, we get a bunch of characters I wish we had more time with.
Yeah.
You know, like Days of Future Past is so good, but as someone who reads the comics, like they give you the gift of like, look at all these cool X-Men, and then they die. And you're like, thanks, guys. Thanks.
It's just like a little treat. It's a little treat for us freaks.
It is. It is a little treat. And one of the little treats for us little freaks is one Mr. Warpath.
Yes. James, to you.
James Proudstar. And
yes.
I don't even want to start with James. I want to start with John.
Yeah, I actually wrote the same thing down, which is so... Okay, so the fact that we want to talk about his brother before we talk about him tells you everything you need to know about this character, I would just say.
It's funny because, like, it is important, though. It's important to like, his origin is based around John, who is a Thunderbird.
Right. We've talked about him before.
We have. So John Proudstar is part of X-Men, the Giant Size X-Men #1 team. And he lasts 1 issue, 2 issues past it. It's the first story after it. They're fighting Count Nefaria is who they're fighting. And they have the same powers, right? Between Thunderbird and Warpath.
Okay. So, generally, yes.
For the most part, yeah.
Yes. However, there is an entire plot in X-Force 106 where he learns that he actually has different powers, but he has self-restricted himself to his brother's powers. And at that point, that's when Warpath flies. So we'll talk about John again at the end when we get back around to Krakoa. Spoilers. But
you know, it's funny. That's one of his powers. I was like, I wasn't quite positive on. If you're like, tell me Warpath's powers, flight would have a question mark next to it.
Yeah, so it's one he picks up halfway through. He gets it's like he's taught by Peter from Excalibur, who like I actually have mentioned in this podcast before when I went into a weird deep dive with Excalibur, I think.
Yeah.
But in any case, that's irrelevant. But yeah, he like realizes that he has been limiting his power set, but he's actually stronger. He's actually faster than his brother. He can also fly, but he was like self-restricting, which was kind of fun. And also it was just like, yeah, they basically gave him the same powers as his brother. And then they were like, wouldn't it be like interesting character wise if he was actually better, quote unquote, than his brother? And I think that was like the angle they were taking.
Well, so his brother Thunderbird ends up dying in like their first mission, which I love. I love that they're like, here's a new character and he's cool and he's big and he's bad and he's brash. And he gets on this plane and the plane explodes.
Yeah.
And he dies. So it's like the first big loss of X-Men, like of the Claremont era.
He is also portrayed as like, he doesn't want to listen to Xavier. Like Xavier's telling him, escape. And he just won't listen. And then he dies. Like it's kind of brutal, actually. It's like not a very flattering.
But at the same time, that is Wolverine. And it's also Sunfire. And it's like, we already had that role filled twice. Sunfire leaves and is like, I don't want to be part of this team. Deuces. And then Thunderbird dies. So we're fine. It's just Wolverine that does that now.
It's just Wolverine.
So,
yeah, for sure.
So all that to say, like, and that literally, I think Thunderbird comes back. I mean, like, he's in flashback issues, but like he comes back in Necrotia and he has come back fully in Krakoa.
Yes.
The two brothers now are hanging out. So that's nice. But it's so.
Well.
There's an Infinity comic where they're hanging out, okay?
Yeah, well, yes, I will say the storyline leading up to like post John coming back to life, there was a very like there was a quite a few months where James doesn't want to confront his brother.
Yeah.
Like there's like tension there, but yes, eventually they do hang out together.
That's where we currently are with John. That's all.
Right.
So James, Proud Star, is introduced as Thunderbird. Like that's his first code name when he is introduced in New Mutants number 16, and he is actually part of the Hellions. Like, so he starts off, I wouldn't say a villain, like a hardcore villain, but he is part of the bad boy group.
Yeah, he's like the good person on the Hellions.
Yeah.
I mean, like there are other good people on the Hellions too, but like he is like the one that is always portrayed as like the chill, normal one.
Yeah. He's the one, like he hates Professor X. And then in turn the X-Men because of his brother dying. And that's not who they ever put him up against. It's always him against the New Mutants, which like he doesn't have a beef with. He's like, these are young kids. Like they're not who caused this. So he does fight them, but it's never, like you said, it's never as animalistic as the first time he shows up as, I think he as Warpath. Where he actually literally fights the X-Men. Or is he Thunderbird there too?
He's Thunderbird until X-Force, actually.
Okay, so he's still Thunderbird.
That's where he gets Warpath.
He has the Warpath costume, though. Oh, no, I take it back. He does have the Thunderbird costume. I forgot. There is a classic X-Men issue where he basically steals his brother's body and gives it a proper burial. And then takes the costume.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm going to Thunderbird it up now.
Yeah. That was like right after John's death, I think. Not too long after that.
Chronology wise, right after John's death. Writing wise, a little later.
Yeah.
But
a little later, yeah. There is such a weird through line with James Proudstar. Sometimes they call him Jimmy also, just to say. So much of his character is built around revenge and vengeance, and it is weirdly constant with him. Like all of the stories that he's ever in, a lot of the times they boil down to like having some sort of vendetta.
Yeah.
And it starts with his brother and Xavier, and it ends never. Like I guess I haven't read the Infinity comics, so it could be a little different now.
Yeah, I think now that his brother's back, I think they're gonna ease off of that. But yeah, I'm gonna not do what we did with Bishop, and let's actually talk about what his powers are off the bat. Because the thing is, if you just pick up, I remember when I was reading like a mid-aughts, early 2010s X-Force run, and he's in it. I was like, oh, this guy's tough. He's a tough guy with 2 knives. Awesome. Couldn't tell you what his power set was at the time. I'm just like, he's just a tough guy. And he kind of is just a tough guy. Because if you go by, it's like he's got Wolverine powers without the claws or the healing factor. I think he has some healing factor, but it's not like, I think he has
not really.
I would say it's almost like how sometimes mutants can heal faster. Like there is also a little bit of it, but not an not like a Wolverine family of regeneration.
Yeah, he's not a Deadpool.
No.
Yeah, it's also like I am also, this is technically John's power set, but also we know canonically that he has John's power set, so it applies. But like John has been like shot with a bullet, and he like kind of has a little scratch over his eyebrow. Like that's what happened. So like it's very like weird to just be like, he's just strong. I'm like, no, he's like supernaturally strong, but like with no like definitive like specific outlet point really.
And there's also
no fire, no nothing.
Yeah, and it's the thing where it's like strength, speed, agility. You know, like when they're generically, it's like, oh, they're just they're a superhuman is really what it comes down to. And then he's also a tracker, which I think it's like he has enhanced senses, like Wolverine does. But it almost feels slightly racist because he's Native American.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just like, he's a good tracker, right?
You're like, okay, that's not great. Yeah, he's Apache. That they him and John they set that up pretty early. So like, I feel like at the time they were like, we're gonna name his tribe and we're gonna be kind of progressive, and then it kind of was like that's about as much as they tried. I mean, like they did not. It's not the most sensitively portrayed character.
Right. Both of their outfits are very Native American coded as well. I mean, but so is Danny Moonstar. You know, like we can't help ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are. Yeah, like. It is even. It's true even in modern. Like when John comes back, they actually keep it. They keep that like kind of like Native American. I hope Apache inspired. I pray.
I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't go that far. I can't imagine they went that far into the research.
Not back then, but I mean in the newer
current
issues,
one.
Like the one
maybe.
from 2022. Maybe. I'm hoping that they like, because it is a little different. Yeah. But yeah, I know one can hope, but I wouldn't know, unfortunately. But like, they do keep that aesthetic, which is like obviously was like not super sensitive looking back on it, but like I would say that the characters though are like pretty beloved. Yeah. Like I would say, like
that kind of stuff. It's tough though, because like. It's not offensive. It's almost just unnecessary to do it. And but then at the same time, like it's hard to say because I'm not Native American. Like that might be kind of cool to be like, hey, he looks like me and he's got a little bit of the dress that that like of whatever it's inspired by, Because
it's hard to say without knowing how accurate the portrayal is, right? Like, yeah.
I feel like the one that's toned down the most when it comes to Native American and appearance is Forge.
Yes.
Where it's like
I agree.
Maybe fringe on the boots and then a headband, but like lots of people have headbands. That's not just Forge,
Right.
But his is the toned down the most that you might not know that he is a Native American. I don't remember what his tribe is.
Yeah, I don't remember
but
offhand.
This isn't a Forge episode, so I can't.
Yeah, they definitely name it too, though, for Forge as well. So it was definitely that period where they were like at least trying to be a little sensitive about it.
Right. Which is cool. I like that.
Let's jump back. Yeah, I do too. Let's jump back to James specifically and talk about like kind of, we mentioned that he's part of the Hellions. So this is like obviously like when New Mutants was like the first round of New Mutants. So this is, a bit ago.
This is under Emma Frost. This is the Massachusetts Academy.
Yes, absolutely.
This is Empath when we talked about him way back when.
Yeah. Yes. And honestly, like the Demon Bear saga is like part of this era. Like it's all
we'll get
overlaps.
there when we get to the New Mutants.
It's like he has this like hatred for Xavier and the X-Men that we mentioned, but it doesn't really nothing really comes of it. He's like mostly an antagonist for the New Mutants. He like makes peace with Xavier in Uncanny X-Men 193, and then by New Mutants 99, New Mutants 100, which you guys have heard me talk about a million times, that's when it turns over to Cable and it becomes X-Force. Like he becomes part of X-Force. Here's the thing where I am referring to the fact, though, that his character seems so vengeance-based. The reason is because at the end of New Mutants run, he's like kind of poised to move on, but because he's made peace with Xavier, but there is a little like storyline where he goes home to visit and his whole reservation, his whole community has been murdered. And the only clue is like a Hellfire Club mask.
Yeah.
So they leave this like story thread out, right? And that's X-Force number 1. There is like a series of events where like Hellfire Club is like basically like out of commission, like died or in comas or whatever, including the Hellions. And so he just like kind of drops the revenge on Emma Frost immediately until 42, which is X-Force 42. So we're going from 1 to 42.
Wow.
Okay. And where Emma just goes, she wakes up from her coma. She's like, it wasn't me. And he lets her explain herself. And then it wasn't until issue number 72 when they're like, actually, it was Strife the whole time.
Oh.
Like,
well, if you're hanging with Cable, it's probably Strife.
Yeah. So, okay. So here's the thing with this. I kind of hate that they were like, I mean, there was a little bit of time. Maybe they just thought that they needed to do something with the character. But like, the fact that they just went right back to like, okay, his brother dies. He's really upset about it. We're going to like make it a revenge plot against Xavier and the X-Men. He's going to have like this kind of justified anger, right? Like that's the angle. And then we're just like, okay, skip ahead. All right. He's fine. He's moved on from that. He's healing, you know. We're just gonna do that again, except his whole family and his whole community, actually. And then this time it's gonna be Emma Frost, like,
yeah.
And then they just drop it, which like to me is like really, I don't know, feels sloppy. It feels like they wrote this down thinking like, oh, we're gonna do something with it, and then like something happened internally, and it just was like, nope, and then we just like drop it for like issues and issues and issues and issues. It doesn't feel like a good payoff like they've set up, right?
Yeah.
It feels like they just kept changing their mind as to like they killed off his whole community way too early, and they were just like, I don't know what to do now. We weren't, we're changing our minds.
Right.
Like it's just bizarre. And like, I don't know. So that we've got that. Okay. So that is like the other big point in time. I want to keep going this vengeance timeline, but remind me later to jump back to Siren and his romance with Teresa.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. Romance is probably doing like a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence, but whatever. We'll skip forward in time. So M-Day, we're just going to blow past that.
Yeah.
He keeps his powers,
Yep.
but doesn't have any stories. Not really, anyway, in my opinion. Like, I don't think there's anything around this period that feels like it was about him. He's just kind of there.
I liken him sometimes, because I was thinking about it, because I was like, oh, we're going to do a Warpath highlight. And like for me, I was like, all right, Warpath, one thing I know, he's usually on X-Force, if he's on anything. Like he doesn't mind getting his hands dirty. And then I couldn't think of anything else. Like, I think he kind of falls into the same problem we had with Armor, where it's like, he's cool. I like him hanging out there. He looks great on the team, and he's useful for the fight, but he doesn't have any drama.
Yeah. And I guess, like, they also weren't writing drama, right? Like, they're like also I said, true. They're jumping around so much in time, and they're not really doing a ton with him. I will say, okay, so maybe I'll just tell the Siren thing right now since we're already in this conversation. I will say, during the X-Force run, he has this, like, romance thing with Siren who he's in love with, but she originally, like, turns him down. He ends up, like, finding a romance with this other woman who much later gets killed off in the middle of, like, the X-Corporation run. Ignore that. But, like, Siren is it's the storyline with him and his romance with her is that like she's not super interested, and then like he's there as like a way to help her with her alcoholism, because this is the period of time, because X-Force is a little bit edgier. Siren is like abusing alcohol, and like that whole arc occurs while he's like pursuing her. So like he's part of this story. Yeah. But it's not about him. It's about Siren, really. And like the end results over like, I would say till now-ish, is that like they're friends, which is good. Like I don't think every like crush has to result in like a OTP forever pairing in X-Men. I think that's okay. But like it just doesn't, like, it didn't serve as his like story or character, which like I guess usually I wouldn't be complaining about a female character only doing her own story, but when they're not doing anything else with this character,
well, if we were talking about Siren, it'd be a different story.
Right, but because they're not doing anything else with Warpath, it's like really like it's just like notable, right, that it like he's just kind of there. The next major story I would say he has is during Messiah Complex, that era. Mm-hmm. He has become friends with Caliban. So I think we've mentioned him before. He has his powers to track other mutants. And Caliban actually ends up taking a bullet to save Warpath from dying, like during a fight, and Caliban dies in this fight versus the Purifiers. And so that becomes his motivation, is to like swear vengeance to remain on like the next iteration of X-Force, because I think this is another like changing of the guard moment.
Yeah.
And he's going to be on the new, even edgier X-Force where they kill people all the time, and he's gonna do vengeance for Caliban.
I think that's the era that I was
arc.
right. I think that was where I started reading, was that one.
Yeah.
And yeah, he just is angry, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he does, I will say, they talk about him like really struggling with killing people, but like he ultimately, like, for most of that run until the end when he like legitimately quits, he just rationalizes it, right? Of like, this is the end justify the means. Like, we have to do this, which is basically what everybody on that era of X-Force is doing.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's tough though, because like it is, if we're talking Messiah Complex, we're talking post M Day, not quite mutants coming back. So there is this like, I think we've talked about it a few times with this era that like the X-Men are okay with killing, and it's usually like in a way of protection. Like, we can't let any more X-Men or any more mutants go, because they had the 198. Like, that's all we have left in the world. Like, yeah, I get it. It in that era. I mean, it's also in an era where comics were a little more gritty and a little more violent, and maybe unnecessarily of both. But it was of the time, you know. And he's a perfect person to use when that's what we're doing.
Right. Absolutely. And I will say, like, okay, this is the Caliban death versus the Purifiers. Cool. Okay, that makes sense. We're in this gritty era. And even to top that gritty era-ness is Necrotia, which you mentioned also. Yeah. This is like another period of time where he has like this revenge over like the people who actually ended up like reanimating his village and Caliban. So this is Selene. If we've talked about her, I think before.
Yeah, we've talked about Necrotia too. I think with when we were talking about Bastion, we touched on it.
I think so. And during that era, like, we have this kind of like zombie-ness of all of these people. There's like a renewed Demon Bear storyline with him and Ghost Rider, which I think is really fun.
I read that one.
It's really interesting. Yeah. So basically, it's like a Demon Bear fight, just like the original.
Yeah.
And then that's like the first hint that there's like unrest. Like, it's like when he's back at home and like at his village, or what was remains of it. And then like, he gets bailed out by Ghost Rider, who teaches him how to fight off, ghosts.
Love it.
It's really interesting.
I love when someone like Ghost Rider shows up in an X-Men book for a good reason.
Yes.
And not just like, I don't know, we wanted to wanted to do a little crossover. No. Demon Bear's here. Ghost Rider showed up. No problem.
Perfect. I honestly think it's super great. I highly recommend that. It's really good. So, in Necrotia, because everybody's been reanimated, Caliban's been reanimated because Selene is using him to hunt down mutants so she can like live forever. It's part of her thing. But she also reanimates John Proudstar, his brother. And the end of this goes exactly where you may imagine, which is that he talks to his brother for the first time, right? Like after his death.
Yeah.
And also kills his brother to put him back to rest. Yeah. Snaps his neck.
Because all these resurrected people are not just the people resurrected. They're twisted versions of the resurrected people. So, because if it were just
also mind controlled.
Yeah. If it were just regular, there'd be no fights. Or it'd just be resurrecting old villains,
Yeah. I mean, like, really, as we like approach like that, honestly, my next thing is Krakoa here. As we talk about Krakoa, like John is brought back, and that is obviously much different. He doesn't kill him.
Yeah.
Like that's not
No.
what happens.
No.
But did you read the giant-sized Thunderbird?
I don't remember.
Okay, so this is a standalone issue for 2022, May, and it is actually the story of John being brought back with the protocols, him hatching from the egg. That's how it starts.
Yeah.
It's super interesting. Warpath is basically not in it, except, okay, so this issue, John is returning to see his grandmother, who is the only person that is still alive. So he's like finding her. And like during this, there's like a fight with like a guy who was originally associated with like destroying the village. We didn't really talk about who was the end result, but it was this guy. And the during this, he is growing closer to his grandmother. She's like teaching him not to just like kill people. This is like the guy is associated with Orcus, so they're like trying to collect all mutant DNA or whatever. And he ends up planting a flower, like a Krakoan flower. So there's a gateway, so he can like visit his family. He succeeds. Obviously, he beats the guy. I didn't clarify that, but he saves his whole village. Like whatever. But what's interesting is at the end, after he plants a flower, that is when James Warpath walks through expecting to see his brother only, and he sees his grandmother, and there's like this really cute thing where they like take a little selfie. They're like super cute together. They're like kind of talking about like how they haven't seen, like they never reached out to each other, and like they've all made mistakes or whatever, and it's just like really adorable. It is like a really cute bonding moment.
Yeah,
I think like because Warpath had been avoiding his brother, probably because he killed him in Necrotia. He maybe did some things that his brother wouldn't have like been super in support of, right? Like during his very gritty era with X-Force.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's been on X-Force like a lot, and that'll do something to you. He's been on a lot of iterations of X-Force.
If I remember correctly, based on what I read, I'm pretty sure he was on X-Force back to back for the first 3 iterations. Nonstop.
I believe he's on.
Yeah.
It is most of the time I feel like I see him. He's on X-Force.
Yeah, he usually is, because like he's not really like, while he like made peace with Xavier in like 193, like that's still like such a core of his character. I feel like they just like don't, like he's been on X-Men like once or twice I think, but ultimately he just doesn't really hang with like the there is sometimes I think a feeling of, when you look at this from the perspective of characters who are typically not on the X-Men but are on other teams like X-Force, that like those kids who are X-Men are like Xavier's favorites, and everybody else is kind of the outside looking in.
Like, I think it was when because in Krakoa they like voted on it, like who was actually going to be on the team of X-Men. That was the first time I realized like, oh, there are people that just like they aren't ever on the X-Men, and it feels weird to like even suggest them on the X-Men.
Yeah,
like Xavier definitely has favorites. Like he uses certain people a lot.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously that is the nature of a comic book and an IP that you're selling to people and like whatever. But I do think that like sometimes real life constraints make good art. And I think that is where we're at here, where it like is totally usable in the stories and how you can like look at maybe how somebody like Warpath would feel and like why he's not on the X-Men.
And it most likely is because, you know, they create all of these characters and they're like, wow, X-Men did really well. We need more, but not more X-Men, more mutants, new mutants. Awesome. Now you got all these cool characters that are new mutants and aren't part of the X-Men, but they're there. And then it just kind of branches off and branches off and branches off. And then you've got, you know, you use the names, but in different ways. And it's just, it's fun to have all these characters that don't necessarily hang with Professor X, Like, he's not as
actively
important
dislike
nowadays.
him.
Or actively
Yes,
dislike him.
absolutely. Yeah.
So it's I love it. I think it's very real because it does feel like the teacher's pet thing is definitely the way to frame it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I mean, that's James. Like, he's fine. He's I actually like him. Like, he is obviously, like, he hangs out with a little bit of the edgy people too often, in my opinion. Like, X-Force is not usually where I love to spend my time reading, but like, ultimately, like, he's got such understandable motivations. I wish they would do a little bit more with him.
Sure.
I probably should have read more about his Infinity comic, but to be honest, I don't read a ton of Infinity comics, so that's changing. I think it's notable, though, that he doesn't really have much to do in Krakoa.
No.
And his brother does, though. Like, they bring John back to life, and then James, I feel like, kind of gets, like, the boot a little, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, that's it. That's Warpath for you.
And he was in the movie just a little bit.
You saw him.
He's there. That's all.
All right. Well, I'm Stasia.
I'm Producer James.
And we'll see you for the next 10.